Hello, hello. Today I want to show you how to line the inside of your tires with an extra piece of rubber, an inner tube on my end here. Instead of going to the store every couple weeks and buying new inner tubes, if you're like me and you use your bike to take you everywhere basically, because that's what my bike does. My bike is like my truck, because I don't really feel like paying into the system and paying these big insurance companies money that they really don't deserve. So if you're like me and you use your bike to go everywhere, you are very familiar with your flat tires that you always get. Now, this is just an inner tube that I've cut in half. This is a 26-inch tube. I've cut a little. You don't need to cut the ends. I was about to tell you to cut over here, but you really don't need to do that. Now, this rubber right here is what's going to protect your inner tube. Because I want to point something out to you. This tire right here is probably a good 15 years old. And the rubber is a lot thicker. Even though there's not much tread, the rubber is a lot thicker. Now this tire that we have over here is supposedly an off-road tire. But as you can see, it does have tread, but the rubber is like paper. It's so thin. The first piece of glass that you run over, you're going to get a flat without a doubt. Alright, as you can see right here, I have flipped the tire inside out. Now, in order to flip your bike tire inside out, it can be a pain in the neck. Don't get me wrong. This took me about 10 minutes to do. But all you do is you just fold one corner over and just keep twisting it all around. And then you'll get it inside out. You don't have to do it this way, but I found it's a little easier. Because, you know, getting the glue to stick inside the tire while it's in its normal shape is hard to do. So, yeah. But make sure that you fold all your rings on the sides over too, so the tire, you know, so it's fully inside out. It'll work a little better once you get the tire back in its original shape. Alright, now this is the front tire of my bike. This is, not saying this is how your tire should look, but if you want to do the job right, this is how it should look. Alright. Next, what you want to do is you want to take your inner tube that you cut in half. You want to cut one of these inner tubes in half. And you want to glue the two ends to the tire. Just the two ends. You don't want to glue the whole tube yet. Just the two ends here. Right to any space on the tire. That way the tube won't fall off the tire. It'll stay there. And then you run it along the edge here. Alright, I have just glued the ends here to the tire. You want to try and make sure it's pretty straight. It don't have to be perfect. Now I'm not using any kind of fancy glue. I'm using the dollar store adhesive. It's basically like super glue. As a matter of fact, I got some coming out there. I don't want that to get on anything, because whatever this stuff sticks to, man, it is not going to come off. I don't care what that glue sticks to, it's not going to come off. And the best thing is it's only $1. Go to Deals, or I guess not Family Dollar, they're a ripoff. Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree, they probably have the good glue like this. Alright, now that I have that rubber glued to the tire, it's not going to want to stay in place very easily, so what you got to do, at least what I always do, is use duct tape and hold it in place. The only thing is I don't have any duct tape at the moment, so we're going to have to rig this thing up somehow. If you have some kind of clamp, like one, you know, them little clamps you get from the dollar store, I would suggest putting a clamp on each side of the tube. That way the tube doesn't move. And then just keep squirting little drops of glue. You don't want to glue the whole thing because it's going to crack as you ride. Just glue little tabs, like little drops, all along the tire. That's what I'm going to be doing. I don't know if I'm going to have enough battery on the camera because the battery's pretty weak today. If I can get enough battery on the camera, I'll record this whole thing and give you step by step. Alright, I was able to find a little green clip I only have the one side clipped at the top. Don't mind the duct tape here. This is just duct tape I had on my tube when it was in the tire. But I figured I'd leave it there because it might, I don't know, it might help protect the tube a little more. But yeah, after you have that clamp there, I would say clamp something to this side too, but I don't have anything to clamp it. So I'm just going to roll the tire and just put glue here, here, down a little more here, here. Just like little drops. You don't want to glue the whole entire thing because as you ride, I don't know, if the glue cracks or whatever, we just need this rubber to stay on the tire so when we bend the tire back out, it doesn't come out. And also, we don't want it to crimp because that'll cause a bubble in your tire. And yeah, who knows, it might pop. When you put the glue on, you want to put on little clumps like this. You don't want to glue the whole thing, just little clumps. And then fold the rubber over top of the glue. If you really wanted to do this the easy way, like without glue, without anything like that, what you could do is use some duct tape after you have the tire or the tube all flat like this. Roll the duct tape to where it's sticky on both sides. And just do it all along, like right here, right here. Do it in rows. All along, down the tube. And then the tube should stick to the tape. And after you're done that, just pop the tire back out. And hopefully it'll stay in place. But at least with the glue, you have a better chance of it staying in place than you do with the duct tape. Alright, it's been a really long time now since I've let that glue dry. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it looks pretty dry. The glue is hard. To be honest, it's the next day now. I let it dry overnight just for, you know, because I got that much time on my hands. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to flip this tube. What am I saying? I'm going to flip this tire back to the way it's supposed to go. And hopefully this liner that I put in here, which is the old inner tube, hopefully that won't come out. And yeah. Alright, now when you pop this back out, you want to be careful that you don't pop the tube off of the rubber now. I'm just going to twist the tire. This is why you're better off doing this with glue. Because you see some of it did come off here. Before we put air in the tire, we got to make sure that this is up there and that it's not going to cause the tube to bubble. Because if you get a bubble in your tube, it could pop, you know, 20 or 30 miles down the road. Alright, now here's the tire. Flipped back to the way it's supposed to be, and as you see here, I don't know how good you can see it on the camera, but we do have a few little bubbles, and we've got to fix that before we can put this tire on the rim and put air in an inner tube. You don't want any bubbles in your tire, so we've got to just crush them down. Even out the rubber here. Don't mind the duct tape. That was just tape that I had on my tube from before. I figured I would leave it on there. It might add some more protection. I don't know though. Anyway, just make sure that it's pretty flat and you should be alright. Alright, now I don't have a working inner tube, I'll say, inside the house, and I don't have my air pump in here either. So I think I'm gonna end this video now, but I hope you learned something. I know this tire here is not perfect, but I hope you get the basic idea. After you get to this step, all you have to do is, you know, just even out the liner inside of your tire. After that's evened out, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you just don't want any like massive bubbles, because then that could pop your tire. But yeah, after you get to this point, I mean, put the tire on the rim, pump up the tire, just squeeze the tire all around like this. Make sure you squeeze the tire. That was a really bad demonstration because the camera cut me off. So let me do that again. Before you put your tire on the rim, make sure that the rubber's not coming out of the side. And then after that, after you have the tube and the tire on the rim and ready to be pumped up, just make sure you squeeze it as you're putting air in it. Put a little bit of air, squeeze the tire, make sure there's no bubbles. Put a little bit more air, squeeze the tire, make sure it's not going to bubble, because if it bubbles and you keep putting air, that could mess up the tube. You know what I mean? Just make sure that everything's good before you fill the tire completely. And after you got your tire filled, after the tire is filled completely, you should be good to go. Now this little liner inside the tire, you can tell it's not the greatest, but it is extra protection, especially when your tire starts to wear down. This tire right here is not too bad, and it's actually a lot better than this tire. This tire has tread, but it's paper thin. This one's actually got decent rubber. But the rubber inside will help you stop getting flat tires. It should, I'm not saying it's going to stop it completely, but it should definitely help. And at least on a bike like mine, a flat tire is really hard to fix. So, yeah, I don't like getting them. Yeah, I hope you learned something. Peace, guys. Peace.